Yo, what's good, Raider Nation, man? We're going to bring you guys a great show talking about the Rams versus Raiders matchup, and there's going to be quite a bit to talk about. We're going to be talking about the offensive side of the football, the defensive side, things that Patrick Graham is bringing, maybe a few cases of players to maybe retain depending on how they finish out the season. But we're going to address the chat. Everybody that's in the building right now, smash this video with the like button. Subscribe to both PharoahNFL and Raider Ray. We do a live show every single week on each other's channels. So make sure you're subscribed and let everybody know where you're at tonight. It makes your experience and our experience that much more better. So without further ado, man, Sean Johnson is in the building. He says, salute Raider Ray. Let's get it. Come on, let's keep the good vibes going. And that's what it's all about. The Raiders finding a way to get another big win this Thursday. Robert Pena is in the building. He says, salute Raider Ray. Shout out to you, Robert Pena. Thank you for pulling up, man. Mind Flexer, Miami, Florida is in the building. What's going on, Enoch? So there's 10 of you in here, man. Make sure all of you guys smash the like button and let everybody know where you're at. Without further ado, let me welcome in my co-host, PharoahNFL. What's good, man?
Yo, what's good, man? Hey, man, I'm on the road today, but I gotta make it happen. I gotta stay consistent, man. But we trying to talk football today, man. We trying to talk about that Rams and Raiders game, or that Raiders and Rams game. I should correct myself. It's always Raiders first before any other
Raiders
team.
first.
But yeah, they got a game ahead of them that looks like, they could maybe put another one on that W column, but nothing is a gimme. NFL, anything can happen. Any given Sunday, even though this is a Thursday game, anything can happen. But we'll be talking about that in a little bit, man.
Yeah, and let's just kind of backpack on the big victory that we just came off of in the Chargers game, where the Raiders really showed up to play. The defensive line has had an emergence, and before we went live, we were just kind of discussing Patrick Graham and really the changes that he's made, really the second half of this season, and how beneficial that's been for this Raiders defense. What are some things that you've been excited with up front on the defensive line and their ability to get after the passer?
Oh man, I just I gotta address this comment by ONT6. He says live from the Bunny Ranch. Nah, man, I ain't no Bunny Ranch, man. Funny as hell, man. But repeat that question, bro. I didn't.
No, yeah.
I seen
Before we
that
went
comment. I
live, we were
haven't done
talking
it.
about Patrick Graham and his evolution in this Raiders defense, his ability to get creative up front, specifically with this defensive line, and the addition of Patrick Graham's game plan. What are you excited about moving forward about Patrick Graham this season?
Man, I think we're seeing we're getting what we thought in the offseason. In the offseason, the Raider fans, we can all agree that we haven't been excited before the season like never before. I mean, and that started with the coaching additions from Josh McDaniels to Patrick Graham, a guy that I was like, man, this dude, we finally have a good defensive coordinator. Now, the only thing that we kind of forgot to really think about is the fact that, it takes they got really complicated systems, and it took a minute for them to gel. And on top of that, we've heard this a lot, but they don't really have a lot of talent on that defense. They didn't really make they didn't make the same investments that they did in in the offense during the offseason. And it showed, but that being said, I'm impressed by Patrick Graham. I mean, the fact that he can do a lot with less. I mean, I know he has Max Crosby, but Chandler Jones was struggling for a little bit. Our linebackers need to be upgraded. Safety play was, I mean, Deron Harmon was he stepped up, but I mean, Morrig, it took him a little bit for him to get used to this defense. But hey, lately I'm seeing Morrig make some plays out there. That cornerback room is, obviously shaky, especially with injuries, but we're getting some guys back, and I like what he did last game, where he was able to mix it up with how he adjusted the D line and to get some pressure. And man, I'm excited with Patrick Graham, and I think he just needs another offseason, another year before we can actually see a solid defense out there. But that being said, they're playing good football right now, playing really good football.
Yeah, they're playing fast. They're playing like their hair is on fire. And you brought up a good point, and it's the depth situation. And you bring in a guy like Jerry Tillery. Typically, when you claim a former first-round pick off of waivers, it doesn't necessarily always go the right way. But ever since Jerry Tillery has come into this lineup, the defensive side of the football has just been flying around and making plays. This is exactly what we talked about that this defensive line needed for a guy like Chandler Jones, is the ability to have these two speed rushers, these bookend premier edge rushers for somebody on the interior to emerge, and that's exactly what Jerry Tillery's done since joining the Silver and Black. And he's honestly, Pharaoh, he's making an argument for himself to earn a contract with the Raiders. Ever since he's came in, it's like these guys have somebody finally from the interior that can create pass rush, create pressure, and now quarterbacks can't just step up and take off anymore. You talk about the depth, the Luke Mastersons, Hall, Sidney Jones, Sam Webb. I mean, you're talking about a ton. Kyle Pecco. You're talking about a ton of depth players really stepping up to have to play pivotal, primal roles. And Patrick Graham has just really done a great job of getting these guys in positions to play fast. And now we're starting to see it. And I think going into this matchup against the LA Rams, you're going into a situation where this offensive line is struggling, and you have to take complete advantage of it. So we're going to just jump straight into the Rams game. You know what I mean? We kind of recapped the Chargers. Let's just jump straight into it. Defensive line versus offensive line. And there's a concept that the Rams have been facing all year, and it's called the 50s fronts. The 50s fronts is when you put 5 defensive linemen on the line and you get one-on-one matchups across the board. Defenses have been playing the Rams this way all season, and I think this is going to be a formation that you're going to see the Raiders run heavily this Thursday night, specifically on a short week. And with the quarterback situation that the Rams have, you're going to see a similar game plan to what the Raiders had last week against the Chargers, and it's to create a ton of pressure on a very banged-up offensive line. So moving forward into next week, what are a few players that are standing out to you on the defensive line that you're looking forward to, that you want to see them take that next step and really have another back-to-back big game?
For the Raiders, offense or defense?
Yep. For the Raiders defense matchups.
I mean, man, I know I've said this before with certain matches during the season. The Raiders came up short, but to be honest with you, man, like the Rams are 3-9. They're not a good team. They've been decimated with injuries. Their starting receivers are guys that are projected to start. I think are Tutu Atwell and Brandon Powell. Cooper Kupp is on the injury reserve. Allen Robinson is on the injury reserve. Like, that should tell you a lot. The quarterback is on the injury reserve. Their O-line all season has been underwhelming. They've been injured. So it's like at this point, the Raiders just got to go out there and take care of business. They need to continue what they've been doing, getting pressure. I think now they do have some speedy receivers out there, and the speedy receivers have given these corners some trouble. But that being said, hey man, if the D-line continues to play like they're playing right now, it's gonna be I'm not gonna put it out there, but I'm just gonna say that it's gonna be a cakewalk for them if the defense if the defense is able to get that same pressure they've been doing against the Seattle Seahawks, and then obviously as recently against the Chargers, man. And I see everybody in chat, man. We're all in agreement, man. I love that our chat pretty much is pretty sharp people. That Tillery move has been huge. I mean, I seen a stat. I think it was with Chandler Jones from week 1 to 13. He had 13 pressures, and then the last couple weeks he has 13 or 14 pressures. Last couple of games, which is huge. And you got to look at what changed, and what changed was the fact that Dave Z was able to pick up a guy like Jerry Tillery during the season, claim him off the waivers, and it's make a big difference. And it's crazy when you see the film, you see him actually getting some pressure and getting into the backfield. It's crazy. He's going one-on-one, which tells me, and we know this already, but it tells you wow, that's all it took for a guy to just beat the guy right in front of him. You know what I mean? Because we know Max Crosby's going to get double. Chandler Jones, obviously, he's been underwhelming, but they're going to put probably a little bit more attention on his side compared to, the interior pass rush. But I'm just glad to see it, man. As a Raider fan, I love. I'm seeing the team overall play well, play hard, defense, offense. They're making plays. We're having team. These are team wins. These are types of wins that we were asking for in the beginning of the season. Remember in the beginning of the season, we're wondering when the Raiders could play a complete game, and now we're seeing it. So there's a lot to be excited about. But hey, they need to take it 1 week at a time, and hopefully they can take care of business on Thursday.
Facts, 100%, dude. And talking about the Raiders building off of this big win going against the Chargers, this is going to be one of those games that I honestly feel like you're going to see the defense take over. Like all the juice that they've been bringing the last 3 weeks, I believe you're going to go into this Thursday night game and it's just going to accumulate. I feel like this is really going to be the turning point in the season for the Raiders defense where they actually start becoming a very, very stingy, tough defense to go up against. And the reason why I say that is momentum. In the National Football League, momentum is crucial. And the Raiders are really building something on an energy level on this defensive side of the football. When you look at their offensive line, speaking of the Rams, they're second worst in average yards per run at 3.5 yards a carry. Okay, the Raiders have been extremely efficient at stopping the run recently, and they've got to double down on that, especially with all these questions at the quarterback position. You've got to neutralize the run game. Don't allow Cam Akers to get going downhill because they haven't had success all season. They're doing zone running heavy, and it's not the schemes issue. It's player execution, much like we've seen what the Raiders had struggles with earlier in the season. It was execution. It wasn't necessarily scheme. It was just execution. They're 32nd in the NFL, dead last in rushing first downs. That's another crucial aspect. You've got to win early. The theme of the Raiders season, win on first and second down, both offensively and defensively. They're 31st in 20-plus yard runs. So that tells me there's no blocking up front to create big explosive plays. You're loading up the blocks, and you're really stuffing the run game. And the longest run that they have on the year is 21 yards, which is 32nd in the NFL. So they're just not getting hats on guys. They're not moving anybody at the line of scrimmage. And the problem for their offense, Pharaoh, is they're getting behind on down and distances early, which is putting their offense in third and long situations, which is stalling out their offense. I mean, they've only put up 21 points, I believe, 3 times this season, and there was 9 or 10 other times that they put up like 21 or less points, which is a huge stat. So
Damn.
I believe first and second down is going to be critical in this game. If you find the Raiders defense having success on first and second down, stopping the run, getting after the passer, allow Jerry Tillery, Chandler Jones, and Max Crosby do what you paid them to do, and that's to get after the quarterback.
And another thing to think about, it is a short week. So
Very.
anything could happen in a short week. You know, when you look at the injury report today that was released today, you've seen a lot of players that are limited. They're not going to really practice too much. They're going to do a lot of like walkthroughs, and you got to pay attention to that. I mean, obviously the Rams are dealing with their injuries in major positions, but at the same time, like a guy like Sean McVay, he's a Super Bowl winning coach. So he's going to have this team ready. He's going to have them playing hard. He doesn't want to get embarrassed. They don't want to be embarrassed. Hey, at the end of the day, like the guys get paid on the other side too. So that's why the Raiders can't take them lightly. And I like the comments that the players, specifically on defense, that I've seen with Max Crosby and even Amik Robertson, they were asking about who was going to be the starting quarterback. And they're like, you know what? It doesn't matter. We gotta focus on what we need to do. They didn't put any bulletin board material like Chargers, Keenan Allen, barbecue chicken. You know how you see how that can come back to bite you. You give bulletin material to teams, and they're going to use that to motivate themselves. And look, at the end of the day, if you gonna talk, you better back it up. You know what I mean? You better walk.
Facts.
You got to back it up at the end of the day. And at the end of the day, the Raiders came out with a W on Sunday, and the Raiders are doing the other thing. They're letting their actions speak. And hopefully they'll be able to take care of business on Thursday.
Yeah, and I'm I'm extremely excited for it because not only are they struggling up front at the offensive line position, it's also the pass game. This offense as a whole. I mean, they're third in 2021, the year that they go to the Super Bowl. They're third in the NFL in 20-plus yard pass plays. So they're extremely explosive. They're stretching the ball downfield. They're finding ways to get their playmakers the football. In 2022, they're ranked 31st in the National Football League. So that just goes to show you how much the run game emphasis goes hand in hand with the pass, right? So when you're struggling running the football, things downfield just don't open up because defenses aren't scared of anybody.
Right.
Not only that, but they're running a lot of guys. They're shifting a lot of dynamic players, non-dynamic players to the outside. So you're going to see a lot of formations, tight ends, running backs out wide. So these defenses aren't worried about anybody getting behind them, and they're putting a ton of their playmakers on the interior. So what they like to do, it's called an arches route. And what they do is they get their running back, their tight ends on the outsides. Defenses aren't worried about any of the speed, and they'll line up all of their weapons on the interior of this offense, and they'll try to attack you over the middle of the field. So Raiders have to be aware of that. They have to be alert of that. But at the same time, If this pass rush can get after the quarterback, I don't see much of a situation where the Rams
I'll
go out
and,
here.
and I'll and I'll say this too. Another reason why they haven't had a lot of big plays is because their O line is terrible.
Yep, 100%.
You know what I mean? And they don't. And in order to hit big plays, the quarterback is gonna need to have time in that pocket. Obviously, look at a guy like Matthew Stafford. Literally, is in the injury reserve because he's getting beat up out there. And obviously, I think that's probably a big part of the big plays. I think their O line took a dip as far as talent. I mean, Andrew Whitworth retired, the left tackle, and then obviously they had injuries. So and we seen that in multiple spots. I mean, I know a lot of people watch nationally televised games. I remember they played the Bills. Bills destroyed them, but that's probably a bad matchup to watch it. But to use as an example, but just overall as a team, like they've been struggling out there, and I think that's why we haven't seen a lot of big plays too as well. But that being said, hey, the Raiders can't take them lightly because how many times have we said this year where okay, this is an easy cakewalk. You know what I mean? We played the Jaguars this year. We played
The Colts.
the Colts, you know what I mean, where they had a coach come off a TV, literally, and he was tweeting about the Raiders and how terrible they were, and he comes and he gets hired as a coach, and then beats the Raiders. That has me make a video questioning McDaniels and how he lost the locker room, and so far, it looks like I'm wrong about that so far. Hopefully, I continue to be wrong about that. I want the Raiders to finally find their head coach, and if it's Josh McDaniels, he's calling a good game out there. We talked about Patrick Graham. How do you feel about McDaniels as a head coach so far the last few weeks?
Over the last couple of weeks for me, Pharaoh, he's really taken this adversity. He's taken the noise from outside of the organization, and he has just funneled it into this team as hey, look, this is what's being said. This is the narrative about our team, our locker room, our leadership. How are we going to address it, and how are we going to move forward? And man, this team has just responded by playing with fire and passion and playing for one another. That's the major thing that I've seen of anything. You could talk about scheme, execution. I see more fire and I see more players playing for each other than I have all year. And that's been critical for me. This defense, they're consistently communicating on the sidelines. They're supporting each other. They're picking each other up off the ground, and they're playing with energy. I don't know if anybody got to see the clip of the players mic'd up after this game on Sunday, but the offense had stalled out. They had gone 2 or 3 series of not moving the football. And Max Crosby's on the sideline with his defensive players, and he's saying, hey, we don't lose our energy. So addressing that, hey, the offense might be struggling right now, but our energy isn't going to budge. We're going to keep this same energy for 4 quarters. And you've got to love that. That's something that this team didn't have weeks ago. And now that they're playing with that kind of passion, they're honestly in every single football game. And not only that, they look like a completely different team.
Hey, man, as a fan, man, aren't you thankful, man? I know we just passed Thanksgiving, but you still got to be thankful every day, man. I'm thankful Max Crosby is a Raider. I'm thankful Devontae Adams is a Raider. I'm thankful Josh Jacobs is a Raider. I mean, hopefully we get to keep him. Hopefully the Raiders can extend him, man. Those guys, man, like, they're elite players at their positions. You know, you can make an argument Josh Jacobs is the best running back in the NFL. You know, you can make a case. Obviously, Devontae Adams, like, come on, man, like, best receiver, and obviously Max Crosby, if he continues to dominate out there and he continues to pad his stats, you know, maybe defensive player of the year might be a possibility. I mean, I think he should get some votes, just a little bit. I mean, the defense, I think he probably is not going to win it, basically, because, you know, I'm not sure if a
what if the Raiders win out though?
I got to look at like past winners and see, like, have there been winners who've won it on bad defenses? I mean, I think Khalil Mack won it with a top 20 defense. You know what I mean? Khalil Mack Mack won it. He was on a top 20 defense. But I'm trying to think. But, you know, either way, man, you got to be thankful that the Raiders have these players because they're great leaders. They care about winning. They're not going to be a distraction off the field. They're all about football. And as a fan, you know what I mean? You watch when you're on Sundays, you want to watch greatness, and these are players that's coming every Sunday and playing well.
Yeah, 100%. And greatness is on the offensive side of this football. Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, they're playing like great football players. And going up against this Rams defense who's going to be missing Aaron Donald, they've got a matchup in Jalen Ramsey, but I will always remind you that rush and coverage work together. And Aaron Donald was the motor that made this interior defensive line go. So If you can dominate, get the running game established, the formula continues for the Raiders' success. We keep running this play action under I formation, hit the deep dig post. What's good? What are we going to
I,
say?
I'm gonna continue to say this every week. I want to see Zamir White. I want
You
to see
still
Zamir
want to
White.
see him?
I still want to see Zamir White. I know. Hey, I'm not saying I want him to take over as a starting running back. I just want him to get some carries. Get him some carries. Get him some carries. I mean, right now Josh Jacobs is he's a little banged up, and you can tell by the way Josh McDaniels called the game against the Chargers. We can get on him the first time, but I think this time around, I think there are moments in the game where the Raiders are spreading out the Chargers. They were trying to pass it more than they're running. I'm like, okay, what's going on? But if you think about it, leading up to the game, who was in doubt? Who was getting questioned if he was going to play or not? And that was Josh Jacobs because he has a bad calf. So I'm sure they try to limit his carries in certain moments in the game. And if that's the case on a short week, maybe get Zamir White. This is a good game to get Zamir White some carries. You know what I
No,
mean?
I agree with you. It's just it's tough because you're allocating so many targets to Devontae, and Josh Jacobs thrives. I'm telling you that spot for him when it comes to reps, it's around that 20 range. It's 20 plus. I mean, he gets going late in football games, and in the third and fourth quarter is when you want a heavy dose of Josh Jacobs because these defenses are tired. And if maybe you can get Zeus reps more early on in the football games, you know what I mean? Get him involved, maybe use him as like just one of those power backs to kind of beat on the linebackers a little bit and those safeties and DBs. And late in the game, maybe save Josh Jacobs as that closer. That would be maybe the only way I see Zamir White getting more carries. Now, when you're talking about more carries, what is a number? What's a range that you're looking for?
Give me. Let me see.
Don't go
At
crazy
least
here.
at least 5 carries. Give him at least
Okay.
5 carries.
Okay. No,
At
that's
least five
reasonable.
carries. Because look, the Raiders are a running team. That's
100%.
that's they're not a passing team. They're a running team. That's what they've established and been successful this season. Now, do they have potential to be a passing team? Yes, but we all know what their struggles have been, especially in the first portion of the season when they were losing. They didn't really commit to the run game as much. And hey, man, like now we see that as a mistake because look at Josh Jacobs. He's killing it right now. So they're a running team through and through. So if they're a running team, hey, I think giving a guy like Zamir White at least 5 carries, especially if they're dominating the time of possession and they're running the football well, then he can get even more than 5 carries if you
I
think
was
about
just
it.
gonna say that because 5 carries, you're kind of at that point of like, okay, is this actually helping Josh Jacobs if you're only getting 5 reps? Like, how much is this actually helping Josh?
I say at least 5 carries
Yeah, at least.
because that's like a number I'm thinking in my head. Like, let's say if this is a good game, let's say if they play hard, this may is a tough game. I know it's the Rams, and we just got done talking to you how trash they are pretty much. But that being said, like if the Raiders are dominating, hey, like I said, it's a perfect game to get him some carries, get him some confidence because it's hey man.
I kind of like where you're going. You know what I mean? I think even in that first half, maybe if you want to timeshare both backs and have split reps. So, if you have 3 or 4 offensive series, maybe in those first 3 to 4 offensive series, they're doing 60%, 40% reps. 60% of reps go to Josh Jacobs. The other 40% go to Zamir White. And maybe he falls in that 5 to 8 range in the first half. And it could kind of open things up in the second half. So I agree with you. You don't want to run Jacobs completely in the dirt, especially on this home stretch if you're trying to go out there and win some games.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this Thursday night, this is the game that maybe we can see Zamir White get a little bit involved, and then we'll give you your flowers if that tends to be the case.
Hey, I'm telling you, if this dude gets in the open field, he's gone.
Zamir?
Oh, Zamir's gone.
Yeah. No,
You know what I
he's
mean?
pretty impressive. It's just getting in the open field. The way that they're
Because
blocking up front, man, like,
exactly, that's what I'm saying. This is a good time because he's a type of running back that he would I think he would excel. I mean, you can say that about a lot of running backs,
yeah.
but he would, especially him with his skill set and his talent to take it to the house pretty much. You know what I mean? Like he's clocked in at 4.4
Yeah.
40-yard time. Like this dude, you can see the speed when he gets in the open field. Hey man, maybe those 5 carries, one of those carries is going to go for like a 30, 40, 50, maybe even longer touchdown. So and then it could be more than 5 carries depending on how much. If they dominate this game, then it could be more than that. But I feel like it's going to be good for him, good for his confidence, good for this team as well. Because down the stretch, if Jacobs gets banged up even more, now you have a little bit more confidence to okay. And in a player like Zamir White is going to have more confidence to excel out there. I'm just throwing it out there. I just want to hear y'all thoughts, man.
No, dude, I'm all for it, and I think moving forward, you're going to see a ton of the run game because the Raiders are physically imposing other teams, and you're going this formula of success of being able to run the football. But now the Raiders were in a situation where early on in the year, if they shut down the run and forced the Raiders to pass, it was a big problem for the Raiders offense. Or the Raiders trying to use the pass to set up the run. It was also a formula that was not working out for them because they became way too predictable. Now how efficient they are on the ground, when you've seen Josh Jacobs slowly start to get stopped or not having a ton of success on those early drives, they
Yeah.
were able to get the ball out, and Josh McDaniels was making those adjustments to the offense and scheming Devontae Adams open. Now these guys start to get out of the box a little bit. Then you see Josh Jacobs. So now this offense is starting to become everything that we were talking about, where you really got to pick your poison. And if you're going
Right.
to go out there and take care of Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs is going to have success. So now it's about maintaining the health of Josh Jacobs and how this offense can move forward.
Oh, for sure, facts. What I'm saying, that's why that's where I'm alluding to. It's not about replacing Josh Jacobs. It's more of like, hey, like we're trying to go on a stretch run. We're trying to get healthy, and obviously win games at the end of the season. And hey, possibly, I'm throwing it out there. The Raiders win out, and some things go our way. Playoffs. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You're in the
I think
playoffs. You got to
so
run the
many people
football.
are afraid to say the playoffs. And I don't get that, if I'm being honest with you, because what else do we get into this for? Why do we invest so heavily in this team? And I know that we're a 5-7 football team, but the expectations here need to be to win. And with the standards that the Raiders are playing with the last 3 weeks, yeah, you need to go out there and you need to go get the job done and you need to go compete for the playoffs. Obviously, you're not folding and tanking to go get a high draft pick. So if we're not trying to compete for that playoff spot, then what are we doing? And I don't get the whole narrative of let's not talk about playoffs until we get there. I'm just saying let's take it one game at a time. And if we take it one game at a time and do our job, then ultimately, if a few things fall in the Raiders' favor, and don't get me wrong, there are some things that have to fall in the Raiders' favor, but the expectation should be that this team is going to compete for a spot in the playoffs. If we fall short, we fall short, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't talk about this team striving to be that. And I think the team is doing it, so why can't the fan base do it? Like, this locker room is fired up, and they understand, hey, if we go and do our job, we have an opportunity to punch a ticket.
Nah, I get you 100%. I think it's more to do with how I think a lot of the fan base and everybody, myself included, we jumped the gun on this team. We thought it was going to be sugar and spice and everything nice, but that
Yep.
wasn't the case. You know what I mean? The Raiders struggled out the gate. The coaching made some mistakes. The players made some mistakes. I don't care about what they could blame execution all they want, but the coaching made mistakes out there too. Where was Josh Jacobs' first few games? That's coaching. You know what I mean? And there's some other spots where you could point to coaching as well. But then, hey, at the end of the day, the players are the ones who out there who need to make plays. So it goes both ways. But I think it just goes to like how we were so excited. We had the expectations from last offseason. Like I said earlier, this is probably one of the biggest off seasons that we've ever had. And hey, man, hopefully we can build off that and say the same thing the next off season. But the thing is that the Raiders didn't live up to it for most of the season. Now the Raiders are on a 3-game win streak. Now we're kind of like, all right, the Raiders are what, 4-7 right now, 5-7,
5-7.
5-7. Okay, they got a winnable game against the Rams. Okay, we're just we're kind of like temper. Now it's like the opposite. Now we're just like, all right, let's temper our expectations. Let's see what they're gonna do. Let's see if they could put some wins together. Let's see if they can be consistent out there. Let's see if Derek Carr could, raise his level of play up a little bit. Let's see if Devontae Adams is that guy, and Devontae Adams is that guy, by the way. He's man, the dude's amazing. But let me ask you a question now. You said something about picking your poison. Now there's two guys on the injury reserve for the Raiders who possibly, not possibly, they'll definitely add a lot to this offense, and Do you think that this would be a good time to bring back Hunter Renfro and Waller this game? At
Nah,
least sprinkle them in the offense. Do you think so?
nah, not this game. Collectively, the team isn't even really practicing. You're doing walkthroughs this week. So there's not going to be pads on where these guys are actually going out there competing in practice. I think for both of these guys, the circle date is going to be the Patriots game. You get through this game, you've got a 10-day open window to get these guys a full week of practice, get them back acclimated, and let them put in a full week of practice before you go out there and put them out there. So no, I don't think that this is the game, and I don't want to. I don't want to really tamper with what the Raiders have going on offense, especially on a short week. You're not getting reps on the practice field. Go into this game with the momentum that you just built coming off of the Chargers game. And I think that's going to bode well for the best success for the Raiders offense. But as for next week, man, look, to get Darren Waller and Hunter Renfro back into the lineup with 10 days of practice, going against the New England Patriots that was flexed out of primetime game. Look, what a perfect time to get these guys back. This is the time, get them extended practice, get them good to go, get them ramped up a little bit, and then slowly incorporate them. You talked about sprinkling them in the offense. That's what I want to see in the New England game. I don't need to see a ton of reps. I don't need to see the ball going in their direction all the time. What I want to see is Devontae and Josh Jacobs show on the offensive side of the football. And now you sprinkle in Darren Waller, Hunter Renfro, because look, those guys don't have to be the guy anymore.
Facts.
In times past, Hunter Renfro had to step up and be the guy. He doesn't have to be the guy anymore. Darren Waller, he is not him in this offense right now. That's Devontae Adams. That's Josh Jacobs. Let these guys be. Let these guys just be beneficiaries of this offense.
Compliments.
Yeah, let them complement the playmakers that you have that are rolling and are hot right now. Let those guys go out there and still get their reps, and then sprinkle in your Darren Wallers and your Hunter Renfro, and then I think this Raiders offense is going to be something to look out for.
I agree, man. I agree, man. That's kind of been my thing the whole time. Like it's like a lot of people are kind of like, oh, they're kind of getting on Darren Waller, but at the end of the day, like I don't want to say it's a blessing in disguise, but like what has happened since they've been on the injured reserve or been hurt and not playing is the fact that the guys that have been playing have established themselves. Guys like Devontae Adams has established himself. I mean, it's not like he wasn't the guy when they were on the field, but now like McDaniels has developed a comfort level with them. He knows, like at this point, Derek Carr, their chemistry is like growing every week. It's getting better and better and better every game they play with each other. But like you said, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, that's the bread and butter. You add in Darren Waller and Renfro. Now you could every now and then, you got Waller across your down the seam. Every now and then you have that. You know what I mean? More than you would have that with Moreau. I like Moreau. He's a solid player, but he's a backup. I don't care what anybody says. He's a backup. I'm not. Moreau is cool when you have like a lot of playmakers. But if Moreau is your like number one guy and you know what I mean, it's gonna be a sad offense. You know what I mean? He's a solid player. He could block a little bit. That's just my opinion. Y'all could kill me in the chat, or you could just be. I agree with you.
Honestly, I think especially those early weeks, I think you use Darren Waller to manipulate defenses to get Devontae Adams even that more schemed open. Does that make sense? Like you're going to use him as a bit of a draw. Hey, this guy's out here on the field. Maybe even flex him out wide.
Make the defense make a decision. Make a defense make a decision.
Exactly. Because you cannot allow Darren Waller. I don't care if he's even been out and banged up. You cannot allow him to be in one-on-one coverage. Not against a linebacker and not against a safety. So defenses now I think those boxes, honestly, Pharaoh, are even going to get lighter because with the lack of a weapon, a number two, like I know Matt Collins is out there. He's overproduced. You could say for his contract. However, he's still not like this outstanding playmaker. So you can use Darren Waller being a former wide receiver, mind you. You can flex him out wide, and you can draw number two DBs out there, and then you can open up everything. Hunter Renfro, the flats, everything that this offense is built upon. It's going to start to slowly unlock.
Yeah, and we haven't heard a lot about Renfro. I'm like, it's kind of weird, you know what I mean? And we haven't heard too much about him, but they are eligible to return this week. I think they both went on injured reserve at the same time, so I think they're both eligible to come back this week, but we haven't heard too much from Renfro. Waller, we heard him in a recent interview say that if the coaches let me, I'm ready to go next Thursday. So that's good to hear. But that being said, man, I'm excited, man, with this offense, where it's going, where it's headed, how it's being established, how McDaniels is getting comfortable as a play caller. He's getting comfortable with the players. The O line is playing well in stretches. I do still think they need to maybe add some pieces. If they can upgrade some pieces maybe during the offseason, it's going to take that O line to another level. But they're playing solid football for what they are. You know what I mean? I think the coaching, the players, they're playing well right now. Parham, Barr is still shaky out there in my opinion, but it is what it is. But hey, man, they're opening up holes for Josh Jacobs, and even when there's no holes, Josh Jacobs is doing. He's making something out of nothing.
Hey, say what you want. Jermaine Illuminor had a heck of a game going against Khalil Mack. Much
Yeah.
better than week 1.
Yes, definitely, definitely. I mean, even Colton Miller. Shout out to him too. Both the
Colton Miller.
tackles.
Yep.
Both the tackles.
The fact
You
that
know what
we're
I mean?
running with a third round guard right now, like it's ridiculous the success that he's having this early on in his career with the significant amount of reps that he's getting. I'm really intrigued moving forward in the years coming. Like, what is Parham going to develop into? I think Andre James is developed into a good starting center. The left guard position, yeah, that's going to be an area where we're going to have to address. But for the time being, right now, Alex Bars, there's a reason why this run game is being dominant right now. All those guys up front, we can say whatever we want about pass pro, but we wouldn't have the running identity if these guys weren't out here just blocking their tails off. So shout out to the offensive line. I think it's going to be a fantastic showing this week. So let's address the chat, man. Let's move into the segment of you guys dropping your questions below, and we're going to interact with the chat. There's over 40 of you guys here in the building. Make sure that we have 42 likes minimum. Mods, if you're in the building, let me know. And we are also looking for dedicated mods, people who are faithful companions to the show, and that does come with a responsibility. Posting our links, getting rid of the bots, taking care of things. So it doesn't just mean that you're getting a blue wrench and like it's something special. It does come with a responsibility over here. So we appreciate everybody who's willing to do that. But yeah, 43 likes. So let's get to the chats, man.
Let's get to it, man. You guys. So Robert Pena says, "You guys think? Oh, is that the last one?
Let's see. We'll start up here. We'll start working our way down.
Okay.
Jesse says the players are finally trusting the system. Facts, man. I absolutely love it. Jesse says we're literally one game away from the 7th seed. If Buffalo can beat the Jets and we can handle the Patriots, we're in the 7th seed.
Wow, that's amazing.
It doesn't. That's crazy.
That's
so
amazing,
crazy.
man. That's amazing. Just like wow, like that's crazy. But I don't want to get too excited, man. I'm just like, all right, I'm just focusing on right now. I'm focused on the Rams, but when you put it like that, Jesse, that's crazy.
Afakazi says outside of Devontae and Jacobs, possibly Moreau, none of their other receivers have established themselves.
Yeah, but you know what? That's not how this team is built right now. Right now, it's Devontae Adams, Josh Jacobs, and they're doing a good job of running the offense through them.
Yeah, it's those two and whoever else can catch the football.
Whoever else can like just if they make a catch, that's a huge plus. Like, oh, Hollins makes a catch, great.
Exactly.
But really, it's like we're relying on like Devontae Adams to get 10 catches a game and for 150 yards, and then Josh Jacobs doing what he does.
Josh McDaniels post game 47, 83. Your thoughts, chat room. Not quite sure I understand that. Try to reword that, bud.
Yes,
Afakazi Raider says, think on the flip side and the positive side of it. If we get Waller and Renfro back and playing at their best, even just one of those two, our offense will go to the next level. 100%. I mean, and I know I've kind of said it a lot.
They don't have no pressure. They don't have no pressure at all.
None. Like I said, they're not the guy anymore. Yeah. So, I mean, they can just come into this offense and play free. That's what I'm excited. McD letting players lead players. That's huge, man. That's huge. I like that. I like that take a lot. We just need Hunter Renfro to be third in Renfro. Facts. I wish we could get that. Van City says, Ray, Pharaoh, what's good, my brothers? Just finished feeding my little man. I'm beyond in love with him. Proud dad. And, man, I seen you said that you're sober, too, working on sobriety, man. Hey, As someone who struggled with that and sober today, hey, just take it, go 1-0 every single day, Van City. That's it,
Hey,
man.
that's what's
Just
up, man.
1-0 every single day. Mumford has promise too. Mumford does has promise. He does
Mm-hmm.
have promise. For a seventh round pick, he's came along nicely, and you got to give a
Man,
huge shout out to Coach.
a seventh rounder is contributing to this.
Yeah, no,
As if you think
but
about that, that's
and being
crazy.
serviceable. I think he's getting a lot of meaningful reps. I think Coach Brasillo has done a really good job with him, and really all the guys. You think of Thayer Mumford, Parham, Alex
Mm-hmm.
Bars, like these are guys that on majority of other rosters. I don't want to really throw Illuminor in there because I do think that he's an average starting right tackle in the league. But those depth pieces, man, like it's impressive what Coach Brasillo has been able to do with these guys. So you got to give a shout out to the coaching staff as well.
Facts, 100%.
Florida boy says, "I see Jacobs breaking a lot of tackles, though. He will.
He
He
do.
will. This is a defense that's
That's what
struggling.
makes him special, Florida.
Yep, he's number one in the league in missed tackles, and we need Waller to take it up the middle of the field so Devontae is not double teamed. Devontae's going to stay double teamed, like
Yeah.
until Darren Waller proves himself on the field. Like there's going to be times where the defensive have to draw coverages his way and put a linebacker and a safety on him. But until he goes out there and has a dominant game, because there's going to be a lot of freedom on Darren Waller, more so than in times past. I think it's going to take a game or two for Darren Waller to go out here and really put up some significant numbers and targets, and then you're going to start seeing those coverages shift.
Right, facts. And I think what it's going to take is for Derek Carr to hit Darren Waller in stride for a 50-yard touchdown, 30-yard, 40-yard touchdown down the seam because he went one-on-one and the coverage was rolled to Devontae Adams' way. Once he puts that on tape, then like, oh, okay, Waller can do this.
Yep.
I mean, he's done. I mean, we know that the NFL knows Waller. I mean, he has 100 catches, but at the end of the day, it's what have you done for me lately? And Waller hasn't really been able to connect with DC, especially early in the season. So hopefully, like I said, there's not going to be a lot of pressure for him to really make those big plays because Devontae Adams is just going to continue to do what he does and just take over. Man, in my opinion, man, like if Darren Waller gets a huge game, I think Raider Nation is just going to forget about everything.
That's how it is.
You know what I mean? Y'all gonna forget about everything. If Darren Waller comes back and he has a 8-catch, 150-yard game, 2 touchdowns.
That's what we were saying on the last show. It's like everybody who's saying like, "Hey, just straight up get rid of him, cut him." I was like, "Hey, man, like when this offense starts clicking and he starts thriving, like make sure you keep that same energy." But I know that's not going to be the case because the second he goes off and puts up those, like you just said, 80 yards, 2 touchdowns, it's going to be back onto the Darren Waller hype train, you know?
Right.
So we'll see. Support the channel. Ray and Pharaoh are giving us a great show. Likes are free. Facts, man. I love that. Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
that, yeah, man.
And
Appreciate
46 of you
coming
guys,
through.
man. 47 of you guys. We should have 47 likes minimum. Go support your Raiders content creators, man. It's all free. So just smash that like button, please.
Facts.
Raider Way says run to set up the pass. That's been the game plan. But thankfully we've had the freedom that when the run game was struggling in the first quarter, we've been able to go to the passing game. And DC and Devontae are finally clicking and having chemistry. So that way now the pass can help the run game. That's not a
And
position
that's the
we were
scary
in.
part about this offense is that I haven't seen the best of DC yet.
100%.
Just putting that out there.
And do you think that you start seeing that the more that Renfro, Waller gets involved, and now it's kind of like, okay, where do I want to go through the ball? Because I will raise this question. I've I kind of feel like sometimes with DC less is more with him, specifically with the progression in the red zone. In the red zone, he tends to lock on a specific target. We seen it last week with Devontae Adams. I mean, he really just locked in on Devontae, and rightfully so. Obviously, the best wide receiver in football. He's had 2 touchdowns, 177 yards. Yeah, you're going to be looking his way. But he had Mac Hollins unguarded across the middle of the field, nobody even on him, and you're in the red zone, you have to hit on those. So my question is when you add more talent to this offense, do you feel like it's drawing DC's eyes in too many directions?
I think DC just needs to be a man and just play his game.
He
Play
needs
his
to be
game.
a man.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm not questioning him on that front. What I'm saying is at the end of the day, like What was in the beginning of the season? Wasn't there a ESPN guy over there in ESPN questioning if if Derek Carr was even looking at Devontae Adams? He was not passing it to him on purpose. But then when he does get the targets, then we're questioning like, oh man, he should have thrown it to this guy. Da, 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 da.
Yeah, where
But
is
then,
Dan
but then he,
Orlowski after this 177 2-yard or 2-touchdown performance? Where's he at?
that's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, like, you know, I don't think anybody's perfect. I don't think Derek Carr is perfect. But hey, man, like he has Devontae Adams. Of course, he's gonna look his way. Like I want him to. He better be looking at Devontae Adams' side and then take a peek. But then I think maybe DC is gonna be more comfortable to look away and be like, oh, okay, I know DA's right there, but Darren Waller's right there. He's 6'5", 6'6",
Hey,
4'4", 4'5" speed. You know what I mean? Big target. A guy that had a couple of 100-catch seasons, so he has that trust in him to make a big play. I think maybe we lost confidence for last year and this year because of the injuries. But like I said, it's not going to be a lot of pressure for Darren Waller to step up. It's not going to be a lot of pressure for Renfro to come in and make like 100-yard game right out the gate. Like all he has to do, all they have to do is just do their job. To be honest with you.
and after all of these one-handed grabs by Devontae, you might want to make him the first and second read. Like if he don't look open for 1 second, might want to backtrack through your reads and hit him on the second read.
Bro, I'm telling you right now. Like obviously, if Darren Waller comes in and he struggles, and we all know what's going to happen. The Raiders, the Raiders going to have to make a decision. They just gave him a contract. Josh Jacobs. Either way, the Raiders are going to have to make a decision this offseason because Josh Jacobs needs to come back as a Raider. Whatever it takes to bring him back, they got to do it. But if Darren Waller and Renfro kill it out there in this offense, I'm just saying, I'm telling you, everybody's going to be like, oh, my God, look, oh, my God, we can't trade Waller. This dude had like how many yards and a touchdown? Oh, we can't trade Renfro. Look, man, this dude's money on third downs. You seen that clutch catch? You seen that route that he did? Oh, that's all it takes.
Mm-hmm.
And it just – we seen it all the time. We see it all the time. It happened this season. It happened this season with Josh McDaniels as the head coach. Myself included. I'm going to include myself in that.
Me too. Me too.
Where I was questioning Josh McDaniels, and not because I was questioning him as a coach, offensive coach. I was more questioning, was he leading his leadership? Mm-hmm. Because we're seeing the players on the field, they just didn't look like they had the right energy on the field. They just looked like a team that wasn't, excited to play football. And then we're hearing kind of these rumors, and, rumors are rumors at the end of the day. And then when you lose against a team against the Colts, you start questioning, like, how do you lose against a guy that literally was on TV? You know what I mean? The Raiders had some low moments this season, but they're on a 3-game win streak, and the players have responded from the after DC's emotional press conference to them chanting his name in the locker room, and then you see the players embrace the coach, embrace each other, excited. It's almost like a whole different team, and if Josh McDaniels hasn't lost the locker room, then he should continue to be the head coach. I mean, we don't have any choice because Mark Davis has made that decision already. But I'm just giving you an example of like, hey, look, like we went from like fire Josh McDaniels to like, hey,
this is our head coach.
He looks pretty good out there. He knows how to call plays. You know what I mean?
Isn't it crazy in the NFL?
Patrick Graham is a good defensive coach. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Isn't it crazy in the NFL, man? In 3 weeks, like this is why you can't get too high and too low on your record, because 3 weeks ago we're sitting at 2-7, talking about a rebuild, talking about a top pick in the draft. You fast forward 3 weeks, and the Raiders are 2 wins away from the 7th seed, and it's a totally different energy from the fan base, the organization, the team in 3 weeks of football. That's why we can't get too high and too low, and we got to let these guys coach, and we got to let these players play. Florida Boy says, do you agree that Turner should be getting more snaps? Fastest guy on the team. He's shifty when he has the ball. Me personally, 100%. I like getting the ball out to him. I want to see somebody emerge. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you're not going to allocate a ton of targets to the guy, but I want to see somebody get involved. You got to put a threat out there. I want to see a little bit looser coverage on some of these other guys. Max Hollins at times, like, yeah, he's performing. I think DJ Turner just has a talent. You know what I mean? I want to see him in special teams first. But I think, short passes, getting the ball in open space to him, just allow that breakaway speed to maybe be a part of this offense. I think that is an aspect to this offense that we're lacking, is somebody with true takeaway burner type of speed. So yeah, I would like to see him get involved more. I just don't know how you give him the football with taking reps away from the guys that are producing right now.
Is he the fastest guy on the team? I don't know.
Oh,
I
I
don't know
would
if he's the
I would
fastest guy.
say football speed wise, I would say probably. I mean, outside of Devontae Adams, but Devontae is fat. He's just football fast. His route running, his ability to get open and just separate from people,
Yeah.
he's in a different discussion. But when you're talking about Mac Hollins, Keelan Cole, DJ Turner, I would say DJ Turner is probably the fastest guy.
Maybe.
To be
Maybe. I
seen.
mean, hey, you know what? Hey, I just Turner. I mean, like it's yeah. Look, hey, once if Waller comes back and Renfro comes back, I don't think we were going to be talking about Turner anymore. And if we're
When
talking
who?
about
You said when Renfro comes back?
if
Oh,
Renfro
of
comes
course.
back and Waller comes back, then we're probably DJ Turner could still be he could ride that pine, just be a cheerleader out there, man.
Just be a cheerleader.
Just
Get
just
Devontae as water.
just yeah, get his water. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to talk shit like that, but
Would you like
but
to
at
see
the
him
end
in
of the day,
special
like,
teams?
hey, when I seen him fumble a few times, I didn't like it. I just want to have
Okay.
a veteran out there, a guy that's
You like
that's been
Keelan
in that
Cole out
moment.
there?
Keon Cole, I was I had like a little social media tweet where I was like I was this close to having wanting Keelan Cole cut from the team because I think was it against it was it not last game, it was the game before. It was against the
Mhm.
Broncos where he
Hey, I
almost
tell you
fumbled.
what, I'm this close to still wanting him gone. I'm this close, man. I'm this close. He just
Hey, they
ah
like him for some reason. I mean, they could have kept what's his face whatchamacallit,
Robinson, Demarcus Robinson.
nah. It's the deep threat we had.
Oh, Tyron Johnson.
Tyron Johnson. But you know what though? Is he in the NFL? So that's another thing too.
Exactly. Exactly.
He's not in the NFL.
D
So
Menace, plug in the channels, subscribe to Ray, and then we got subscribe to Pharaoh. So we shout out to you, D Menace, for posting that. 56 of you guys, man. Let's have 56 likes on this video. Kane Town Raider says, "What's good, nation? What is going on, Kane?" Van City says, "Ray, I've been sober since November 19th, 2016. It was very easily the best thing I've ever done for me. It's day 5 without cigarettes for me. God is great. God is great, man. That is
hey,
awesome.
that's
Keep
what's up,
going,
man.
man. One day at a time."
Mm-hmm.
Avakazi says, "Salute Raider Way." Van City, D Menace, what's good, brothers? Avakazi, bro, what's good, man? Hope all is well. Let's see here. Jonathan Taylor says, "Trade him."
He
Trade
says
who?
Waller. He's talking about Waller.
Oh,
He says
Waller.
trade him. Yeah, he's done with him.
Okay, okay. I hope he does. We'll see DW Waller with one-on-one coverage on a regular barbecue chicken, respectfully. Word to Keenan Allen.
Facts.
Facts, DeMarcus. Jonathan says, I watched the play again. He wasn't guarded, but he isn't as accurate throwing to the left across his body. Fair enough, but you still, I mean, in the NFL, you've got to be able to make these throws. You have to be able to reset your feet, go through your progressions, and find the open guy. If the game was on the line and that would happen, you know what I mean? We would be having a whole different conversation about how Derek Carr has to go through his progressions. Red zone is still an issue. Lack of extending plays is all on DC. Let's see here. Joey Boy Raider says tag Jacobs. I'll let you take this one.
Hey, at all costs, man.
Hey,
Raiders got to do whatever
whatever
they
it
can to
takes.
keep Jacobs. I'm I'm on that. Like he's the second best player on offense, arguably the best player on offense. You know what I mean? But I can't put him over Devontae Adams. Like that dude, bro. The
He's
dude's
different.
special, and he's been special for on a consistent basis. It's not just this year. He's been that dude. I think for Josh Jacobs, he just took his game to another level this year. In my opinion, I think and we got to keep him at all costs.
Jonathan Taylor says Ray is right about DC locking on her wide receivers. After making pre-snap reads, he's still getting better at looking safeties off, but he needs to have faith. If other being open, option 1 or 2 isn't open. 100%, man. That's the one thing about DC. He's improved over these last 3 weeks, man. Let's not just like make it seem like DC hasn't improved. But nitpicking his game a little bit, like, yeah, this is something that's got to get better.
Hey, let me ask you this, and anybody can chat, could talk about this, and you, Ray, as well. So with DC, do you think, or just any player, when a player is learning a new offense and they're getting used to, a new system, new coaching, new players, whatever the case may be, do you think that it's easy for that player to revert to old habits because they're getting used to something, so they're going to try to find something they can latch on to, so then they could like build off that to give them confidence?
100%. It even like, dude, I can only translate it with in my life. So like in mixed martial arts, when the bullets start flying and it's hot and just shots are being thrown, like you start to revert to old tendencies because that is almost what you know. So DC is 100% going through that, and I'm glad you brought that up because when you break down the film, you can tell when things start going when the pass rush starts to kick up. There are some old tendencies that start to show up on film, and that's when you raise the question of, hey, are these 9 offensive coordinators, 4 head coaches, all these, does this add up when it comes to a player's development? So in Derek Carr's development, unless he stays with Josh McDaniels for the next 4 years, is he going to constantly have these things occur here and there? But no, it's a good point that you bring up. It is something that players deal with, and especially learning an offense in the first year. I mean, we seen Derek Carr openly say it earlier in the season. He's like, "Oh, I checked out of that play because that's what Gruden's offense would have
Right.
me do."
And then like you could look at his pocket presence and his
Yep,
footwork, things like that. But there, he's gotten better. Like
he
this, he's
has.
better than he's light years better than he was in the beginning of the season, and now he's playing a lot better, I think. But he's still not there yet. He's still not there
Mhm.
yet. But that's what gets you excited about. Like, wow, he's still not there yet, and man,
He
the
finally had
offense
that
is
three
this
touchdown
productive.
game, and he could have had 3 touchdowns. This could have been back to back 3 touchdown games
Yeah,
to be honest.
there was a couple of games where he could have 3 touchdowns more. Like, but Morrow got to come down the ball. This guy needs to catch. Like, obviously, last game, hey, Devontae Adams, as great a game as he played,
He had
he
a
probably
drop.
should have caught that one. He should
Yeah.
probably could have caught that one in the end zone, where he should have had 3 touchdowns. But hey, can't
Hey,
be
and
mad at
this is the
eight
first time in
catches.
Carr's career that he's
Mhm.
on pace to have 30 touchdowns under a first-year head coach. Like
That's
that's
crazy. That's
significant.
crazy
That's
to think
significant.
about, and we know that it could be way better.
Yeah,
Way
you're talking
better.
about he could have been in the upper 30s. You know what
Right.
I mean? If everything would have fell right. So, I mean, it's exciting, man. Is Josh letting DC have more freedom pre-snap now since the 3 game win streak? I think he's been letting him have some. It's just getting into the right plays. Like we just brought up about the John Gruden situation, he checked into a bad play that a former regime would have got into in this offensive scheme. That's not a situation that you want to line up in based off of rules and philosophies in the offense. So that's why you've seen Josh McDaniels so upset with DC from checking out of that play because it's not a high percentage play for this offense. So yeah, I think DC does have freedom pre-snap, and I think that's why you see him going to Devontae Adams so much and checking it into Josh Jacobs. So really, pre-snap with the weapons that Derek Carr has, it's not like he has to get too fancy with it. You're either handing it off to Josh Jacobs and letting him eat, or you're
Hmm.
throwing it to the best wide receiver in football. So yeah, he's gonna have freedom at the offensive line.
Facts.
Snoop says save Waller and Renfro for the Patriots. Facts, man. That's what we were alluding to. Jonathan says Mark needs more love too. How do you feel about Mark Davis?
Mark needs more love too.
I think he's getting
I
plenty
think
of it
I
with the
think
little
Mark.
side piece he's got.
You said what?
You see that little side piece he's got? I think Mark is getting more love than he can bite off.
I didn't see anything. What?
You didn't
He
see
got a
that?
girlfriend?
Bro. I'm going
Nah.
to send you something
But I
when we
mean,
get off.
hey man, he's a billionaire at the end
Oh
of the day.
yeah, he's
He's
probably
a
paying
billionaire.
this girl just as much as he's paying Chandler Jones.
Nah, man, you got Mark got probably a little bit more game.
Okay. Okay.
He
We'll
probably got a
see.
little more
We'll
game than
see
that.
when I send you this.
But no, Mark Davis for sure. I mean, at the end of the day, like during the offseason, I was since Mark Davis has been an owner, you probably could say that you could really make an argument and say that he's not one of those owners where he's gonna come into the football aspect of the team and try to make decisions. He's gonna let guys coach. He's gonna let the GMs be GMs, and he's done that before. And he's let coaches be coaches for at least a couple years. He's never really fired a coach after one season. You know what I mean? I mean, I guess the only one that you could think of was, Hugh Jackson. But Hugh Jackson literally, that was the year that Al Davis died. So that wasn't really his full first year as an owner. Like his first year as an owner was with, I think Dennis Allen was his first coach that he hired. And Dennis Allen, as bad as a coach he had 2 years or 2.5 years. He had I think he had 2 years, right, as a head coach.
Mm-hmm.
So in my opinion, I think Mark Davis, he's done a good job, but he sometimes makes comments that have me concerned a little bit. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Cause look, you can't be like, I don't want to get into that. I'm not going to get into that because
Yeah.
I do have some thoughts about Mark Davis, but at the same time, he's done a good job overall. But there's sometimes I'm a little bit concerned about him. Like I'm like, hey, like he kind of throws me off a little bit. But yeah, overall, Mark Davis is a good owner.
Yeah. Raphael says, "Yo, what's good? What's going on, Raphael? How you doing, my friend?" We are fans. It's called passion. 100%. Carr not only had to learn most complicated system, he had to unlearn the old one. True. True. That's not easy. That's just not you flip a switch on overnight. It's called being patient and frustrated builds character, makes it that much sweeter. Young people don't know how to be patient. Just saying. 100%, man. 100%. We're in that 30-second microwave society. You know what I mean? So this stuff doesn't just happen overnight. You're right. But we did
Well,
have high expectations.
but you know what? The other side to that, Raiders 805, you can't even lie. The fans, Raider Nation, we had expectations coming into the season.
Yeah, super high expectations.
So when the expectations is here and then the reality sets in and it hits, it's only right here, then obviously there's going to be huge disappointment. You're going to want people fired. You're going to want some change. You're going to be like, hey, let's replace this guy. It is what it is. I think it was just, even I had expectations. I know Ray had expectations. A lot of people who were on here, a lot of people who projected the Raiders to win games out the gate, they had expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And the Raiders didn't live up to that. And they still need to prove. There's still a lot to prove on that football field. They're 5-7. You know what I mean? So they still need to keep building off what they're doing right now. But yeah, I think it was just about expectations.
Adversity is a good thing. A lot of teams are falling off now, and we're just getting stronger. We're showing heart like we did last year. The heart of this team is its identity, in my opinion. 100%, man. And like you're starting to see those other teams taper off. They came out of the gate hot, but this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. And you're starting to see these other teams gas out. They're starting to get beat up. They're losing key players. And this is the opportunity for the Raiders to swing in and really come out with some big wins. Raider Way says, Cole boot, then Turner in, fire unless he catches 3 touchdowns this game. Problem TV says, "What's up, y'all? What's going on,
Salute,
Problem?
man. What's good, man?
I love his
Appreciate
skills,
you
but
pulling up.
trade when value is up. True, but Collins was open a tad bit more than Adams. Just threw it late, in my opinion. Timing still needs work. Yep. Going to be at the game this Thursday. First game I've ever been to. Man, and shout out to you, Problem. Have a good one. I hope the Raiders can
Oh
come out with a
damn!
big
So,
dominate
damn, for
win.
real. Oh, you about to be at the Rams? Oh, that's
That's going to
dope,
be a
bro.
good one. That's going to be a good one.
Oh, that's dope, man.
McDaniels might just do some magic with Carr. Hey, I'm curious to see what year 2, year 3 looks like, if I'm being completely honest. Derek Carr's this type of guy that when he gets in a system and he just starts getting comfortable, he is a really, really good quarterback. So
Right.
we get this season out of the way, let him come on at the end of the year, and then let's see what we've got next year and
But
the
you
year
know
after.
it's crazy though. You know it's crazy that we have to say that, but that's true for every
Every quarterback, yeah. Yeah.
Not
No, it is.
not just quarterback, every player. Like
Yeah.
the faster you play, the better you play.
Facts. Yes and no. Problem is DC is trusting wide receivers and his fundamentals. When there is indecision, his leadership has developed more this year, but you can see he's hesitant on timing routes. Yeah. There's and that comes with what we are just talking about. That's kind of piggybacking it. That's a time on task. That's going through thousands of reps with these guys and establishing a confidence.
Mm-hmm.
Right away says Hart the call after the turnover. Adams touchdown, aggressive and unexpected. Yeah, they took a shot immediately right away. I love that. I do love the aggressiveness, and I think even something that we haven't talked about is like the red zone offense too. When the Raiders are starting to get inside that 30 to 20 range, they're actually taking shots then, which I thought was actually pretty.
No. And it's funny too. I was watching the game, and the commentator during the game was laughing because he was like, Believe it or not, this is the first time the Raiders were
Yeah,
in the end zone. That's because, and they're literally like, I think it was like at that point they've scored a few touchdowns, but most of
yeah.
the touchdowns are coming from, like you said, a 30-yard line, 20-yard line, and stuff like that. So it's like they're finding ways to score.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're doing it before they get to the red zone, which is also exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Y'all see that young thing? Nice show, Bunny. Yeah, yeah. This is what I'm talking about with Mark Davis. Yeah.
JT special.
Trademark Davis. This said that. Okay, y'all need to chill out. That blonde looked fire.
I didn't
His
see
new
her, bro.
barber. Yeah, I'll show her to you when we get off.
His
Supposedly
new
that
barber. He got a new haircut.
supposedly that chick was his neighbor. Yeah, in his penthouse suite next door in his house. His neighbor. Yeah,
No.
right.
No, I'm more surprised that Mark Davis got a new haircut. He got a new haircut.
No, he didn't get a new haircut. He's
Yaya
rocking
said he
his
said
new
Mark Davis new
barber. He's
barber.
probably talking about her.
Oh, that's the
You
new
see what I
barber.
mean?
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah, yeah. She got a great tight end. I see the little play on word. Man. Oh, this chat, man. I swear.
Hey, bro, y'all funny as hell, man.
Mark Davis said it best. He knows what he doesn't. He knows what he doesn't know. Mark knows blondes. I'm
Damn.
so dead,
Hey,
man.
man.
Everybody's coming for him. McDaniels has taken away what Gruden set up and polished it with better play calls. I like that SVT. I like that a lot. They come from it's like a similar, run heavy, play action, and also does a good job of balancing out, spreading these guys out, spreading the talent out, making you cover every inch of the field. I like that take, SVT. I really do. Edgar says, was Tillery the missing link?
It looks like it.
Right now it definitely looks to be that way. Tillery has been Uh, honestly, of the season, he's one of the more underrated low key pickup signings for the Raiders.
That's
Not that he
another.
has all these sexy stats, but it's what he's contributing to the guys around him. It's been huge.
Hey, Dave Z. Shout out to Dave Z.
Dave Z. And hey, these guys, Max Crosby worked out with Jerry Tillery in the entire offseason. So they had a friendship before they even came here. And they were talking about Jerry Tillery. Literally, the practice squad guys hate going against Jerry Tillery, apparently, because the dude is talking trash. He's bringing a ton of energy at practice. And that's what this defensive line needs, man. That's what I like to hear.
Mm-hmm.
90% of Raider Nation continuously says that Mark Davis doesn't know anything about football. He's not his dad. He needs to sell a team, et cetera, et cetera. But let's be real. Mark Davis has made great moves.
But
Give
hey, the
credit.
best thing about Mark Davis is that he hires people that know more than him,
100%.
and he lets them do he lets them do their job. That's the best thing. Now, as for him knowing football, I don't think that's his forte. He's not his dad. He's not out. He's not Al Davis out there.
Oh, yeah. SVT was out in Vegas with Raid. So shout out to you, SVT. I hope that was fun, man. I
Oh yeah,
hope you
that's
guys had a
dope,
good
man.
time.
I seen some of the footage, man. I hope y'all had a hey. That's a great game to go to, brother.
It was. It was. Jonathan Taylor says, Ray, if Waller come back strong and you can only keep one, who are you keeping, Waller or Jacobs? Oh, geez. Waller comes back, gets 7 to 8 touchdowns, 5 to 600 yards, but JJ hits 2K rushing. Who do you keep? Me personally, I'm going with Josh Jacobs.
Damn. Yeah.
Well,
I
I
mean,
mean, dude, actually, I don't know. Let me think about this for a second.
look what he threw at you. Look what he threw at you. Look what he threw at you. He says, if Waller comes back in these 4 games and he gets 7 to 8 touchdowns,
I know.
500 to 600 yards in 4 games. And it might be more. You can even say, like, what happens if it's that's too much. That's too
Here's
much.
my
That's too much.
problem. Like, obviously, Josh Jacobs is having I mean, to think that this is consistent for years to come, I don't think that's realistic. Maybe as long as you have Devontae Adams in the lineup, it's possible. Just because how light the boxes are getting. But to say that this is going to happen year after year after year, I think that's a bit of a stretch. And do you have a bit of buyer's beware with Josh? Like, are you
I'm going with Josh, man. I'm going with Josh.
okay?
Because Waller's injuries are concerning, and I think we can actually get like a second round to first round pick. If Waller puts those numbers, I'm telling you right now.
Oh,
I
you're
think
getting a first.
Oh yeah, we get a first.
If he puts up those numbers, and then
Oh
I'm
yeah,
definitely
we
doing
getting
it.
we getting first round pick.
Yeah, then I'm
and
definitely
then and
doing
then
it.
we built on that defense.
And plus, you have to think about the amount of reps each one is going to get in a game and what that adds to your team on a week to week basis. So, Darren Waller definitely isn't going to be getting 26, 25, even 20 reps. So, yeah, I'm probably going to lean towards Josh Jacobs based off of production. Would you guys bring back Mac Hollins?
On a
It's got to
team
be a
friendly
cheap
deal,
deal.
yes.
I think he's
Team
going to
friendly
go.
deal. That's it.
Somebody's going to pay him though. That's my opinion.
If he's asking for Zay Jones money, then
Nope. See ya. Yeah. See ya. I'm cool. I don't want it. Nah, he
yeah.
just tapers the side. Doesn't have the problem child cut anymore. He tapered the side. I don't even know if he did that. I don't know, man. He must.
JT,
He might have
you be
just
cutting Mark
sneezed
Davis
really
hair?
hard, huh?
Nah, man. He's over here talking about his taper. Like,
Uh,
hey,
oh, why did I even click on this? Why did I even click on that? Tillery is a spark. He belongs with us.
hey, man, y'all crazy, man.
Y'all are
Y'all funny as
crazy.
hell, man.
That's the one like you pop up and you read it and you're like, oh gosh. Tillery is a spark. He belongs with us, man. I hope so. I think he's making a case to really
Hey,
get
I
a
gotta look
contract.
this up, man. I can't. I gotta look. I gotta see. I gotta see how she looked like.
I don't think. Look,
Mark
I
Davis'
mean,
girlfriend. I should put that.
man,
Mark
she's
Davis.
one of the. I hate to say this. No disrespect to this woman, but she just looks like your typical high end, big money blonde girl with a bunch of fake lips, and I mean, definitely a home run for Mark Davis. I mean, the dude's swinging bombs out there in Vegas, but do you get her? She's all right. Devonte Adams hits 100.
Like she looked like Let me see. Hold up.
She looks like his
Should we
stepdaughter.
even share this? I don't know if we should share this.
Where
This ain't
did you didn't go to her
this ain't
IG,
Raider
did you?
football related.
Yeah, you shouldn't go to her IG. We can't share nothing off of her IG.
No, I'm looking at
She
like
definitely
I'm on
she's
Google right
definitely
now. I'm on. Okay. Okay, I see what y'all talking about.
yeah. It looks it's one of those at least Mark like get someone that like maybe you could be like, yeah, maybe they're actually a thing. It's like she's sitting next to him. I'm like, you know exactly what this is. 110%. Like this girl is
I
getting
hope that he knows though. I hope, but I hope he knows though. I hope he knows.
do you think he is getting led on? Like this girl is acting like she's in love with him? Is he gonna
I don't.
get Darren
You know,
Waller?
I can't say for sure. You know what I mean? But I mean, if I would judge a book by a cover, then
Oh.
you want me to do y'all
What
want me
else
to
can we
judge a book
go
by its
based
cover?
off of? If I don't ever read the book, I'm looking at the cover and it's telling me about the book, right? Luis
I mean,
Lopez. What
I could give you a couple of answers, but if you want me to judge a book by its cover, then nah. I think she sees $1 billion owner and money signs come up on her eyes. You know what I mean?
what do y'all think about us getting flex out of Sunday night? Nah, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. That's where I'm at with it. Would I like to see my team on prime time? Yeah, I would, but my man Pharaoh over here, he likes the games as early as
Oh my, hey
possible.
JT, you're a beast. Oh my God, I was thinking that the whole time. She looked like a healthy Miley Cyrus. Oh my
A
God.
healthy Miley Cyrus.
Oh my God, that is. I was literally thinking Miley Cyrus, but I didn't. Great minds think alike, man.
Ooh, Jesse says McDaniels is gonna win Coach of the Year.
Coach of the year, man. If we went out
If we went out and make the
if we
playoff,
went out and win a playoff game,
oh my goodness.
bro, the Raiders are set for years to come.
Raider Way says JJ has the heart and desire. Waller unfortunately has an addiction that prevents him from being available because he can't take medication, unfortunately for him.
Damn, man, a lot of people got all these crazy takes, bro.
I know, man. I know.
But we'll see, man. We'll see how he finishes the season strong. But I agree that I think the Raiders, if they have to choose, it got to be Josh Jacobs, in my opinion.
Hey, did you see DC after the game when they broke the huddle and in the locker room and he was like, "Hey, like everybody stay home tonight." Did you see that?
Nah, I didn't. I didn't
Yeah,
see
he
that.
was. They were
I
in the
didn't get a
locker
chance, man.
room.
I've been kind of super busy, but I
Yeah,
didn't
they
get
were
a
in the
chance to
locker
see that.
room and so Josh McDaniels, he broke down and he was like, "Hey, we got a big win. We got one coming up on Thursday, yada yada yada." In DC, before they broke to go and get dressed in the locker room, he just got the locker room's attention. He's like, "Hey, look, everybody." He's like, "Go home tonight. Like, go home. Don't be dumb tonight because if we don't get a win on Thursday, how dumb do we look?" And everybody was like bought in, man. Like this locker room looked bought in. So that's cool, man, because coming off of a big win, 3 in a row, you start feeling yourself a little bit. You got a quick turnaround against the Rams. You know you're not going to be having a ton of practice this week. It's easy to go out there and kind of celebrate and feel yourself, and it's cool to see DC rally this locker room.
Chat is too funny, bro. Y'all killing me right now.
DeMarcus, Mark Davis needs love too. Craig Day Day voice.
Man, for real.
It's
For real, man.
hilarious.
Hey, man, he's got all that money. He's in Vegas.
Healthy Miley Cyrus.
So
Oh my gosh.
she does look a little bit like
Nah,
they're
he knows what
sisters.
it is. She knows what it is. Yeah,
I hope so.
it's a mutual business transaction.
I hope so. I don't want to see. The new owner of the Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, let's not. In his victory speech, but that was Perryman said it. Oh, okay. So Perryman said it first. Hey man, that just builds on the leadership of this defense. Is he another guy that's gonna earn a contract?
Oh, Perriman.
Yeah. There's a lot of these guys. There's a lot of these
I look.
like
Hey, look. I'm a big believer in bringing players back that play well, like within the building, because it's a better way to build the team, in my opinion. Instead of bringing outside guys that you really don't know, it's more of a gamble. Because free agency is a gamble at the end of the day. You don't know
yeah.
if a guy's gonna play well. Look at Chandler Jones. We thought he was gonna dominate with Max Crosby. The dude just got 3 sacks last game. Now he has 3.5 sacks. But for most of the season, he had half a sack. Hopefully, he continues to build off that. But my point is that like I think it's better to build off what because you build a stronger locker room, a tougher team. You can just build out what you have. I think, but you can't keep everybody though. And Perryman, it depends on that contract, bro. Because we got to sign. Hey, Jacobs got to come back. Who else got to come back too?
Dude, you got a
And on top
couple.
of that, we need to upgrade the interior of this team. We need
Yeah.
a cornerback. Oh my, it's so many different spots.
Hey, we something we didn't talk about as we're wrapping up the show, like Rock Sin. How significant is that knee injury that he's dealing with? There's
On a
been no
short
word
week.
on a short week. I don't know that he's gonna play. Like I don't know how significant it is. They haven't talked about it. Obviously, he was getting tests done this week, is what Josh McDaniels said. So I don't know, man. That's something to keep an eye on.
Joey Boy Raider, man. Hey, man, I do have a dark sense of humor, so sometimes it comes out. I try to hold back, but I really do have. Like, it's goofy though. It's goofy.
Are you
Oh
talking
man.
about the "You're Wrong" with the whole thick Miley Cyrus one? I say we bring back Harmon. This defense has looked better since he's gotten the green dot, great veteran presence. Look, I know Luis, but look, we're talking about bringing back Denzel Perryman, Jerron Harmon, Andrew Billings, Jerry Tillery. Are you going to bring back one of the corners? Like, I mean, these names are starting to add up, and you're going to have to start spending money. On top of that, Josh Jacobs has to get paid. Are you bringing back anybody on the offensive line like a Jermaine Illuminor? He's going to want some money. So, look, man, this offseason is going to be interesting.
No facts.
It did hit different when DC said it because everyone was quiet and focused, so everyone heard it. Yeah,
Hey
yeah.
man, DC has. I think JT, you said it in the chat earlier too. You said that his leadership has taken another step this
Yep,
year,
yep. Which is
and
pretty
and he's
crazy.
he and guess what? He built. It was built off last year too. You know what I mean? Because last year, with everything going on off the field, like so many different things happened last year. There's never going to be a year like last year. I hope not. But but hey man,
Right
at the end of the
away.
day, like DC as a leader, man, you can see that locker room respects him.
100%, man. Yeah, with Tillery's play, if we bring him back, do you think we draft a defensive tackle in the first round or go a different direction? It depends on what the player is and the prospect. I think you're going to go best player available. So you
Yeah,
can
I
go a
mean,
few routes on this defense. To be honest with you, you can go defensive tackle. My opinion in the first round, where we're at, if you bring back a Jerry Tillery and Jalen Carter's off the board, I think you go get you a young sideline to sideline linebacker who can make plays. That's my opinion. Or maybe go get you a defensive back. So Mark said that Blonde has to come back. Re-sign contract extension. I think I got the update on Bleacher Report. JT says Rock looked good and wasn't
He's
testing
living
much
his
in the
best
game,
life.
was he? I remember his breakup and Justin Herbert didn't test him right. Rock looked good. It's just he tweaked his knee really bad. So we don't know. He didn't finish the game. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious to know the significance of that knee injury. There's
Mm-hmm.
speculation of it being serious or not. It was funny, G. I'm just clowning on me.
Oh yeah, it's all good, bro. It's all good. It's all good, bro.
Rock Ya-Sin is a free agent and a Luminor. Yep, both of them are on. Yep, both of them are 1 year
That's what I'm
deals.
saying, man. It's so many players that are free agents on this team. So
Oh, money talks, my friend. Nothing can top the 2018 offseason. Yeah, true. Bring back more blondes. Money or citizenship don't have no looks attached. Richie Rich says, "Hey man, what's going on, Rich?
hey, what's going on? Appreciate you pulling
Hey
up,
man,
bro.
there's 53 of you guys on the way out, man. If all 53 of you guys can smash a like button, we would highly appreciate it. And subscribe to both Pharaoh NFL and
Mm-hmm.
Raider Ray. We do weekly live shows on both channels, so you don't want to miss that. But look, the Raiders are going in here into LA, our second home, and really trying to compete for a big win. And I think everything is on the table, but the Raiders have to go out here and win. It's a 1 game season from here on out. So, Pharaoh, any closing segments before we get out of here?
Nah, man, I'm excited just like everybody else, man. The Raiders on a 3-game win streak. Hopefully they can get into a 4-game win streak. Then after that, it's like 10 days until the next game, man. Hopefully they can win against the Rams. Don't want to. I want to throw out that winnable. This is a winnable game, but the Rams, I'm just gonna say they're trash. They're
Mm-hmm.
trash. And the Raiders, if they're gonna be a team that finishes strong and possibly make the playoffs, they got to take care of games like this point blank period.
Mm-hmm.
And they gotta rise up to that challenge. They gotta improve as a team because the part of the reason why the Raiders were 2-7, they started the season really rough, is because they should have won games that they should have. You know what I mean? There are games that they should have won, and this is a game against the Rams where they're 3-9, don't have a starting quarterback, they don't have their starting receivers. You know what I mean? They're damn near. If you want to talk about tanking, this is a team that looks like they're tanking. If you to be
Yeah.
quite honest.
Yeah. And last question, I'll just address this really quick. JT says, "How do you feel about Baker playing though? He's dangerous versus our play style." No, honestly, play him. They emailed him the playbook on the ride over from LA. Throw in a quarterback with 48 hours. You know what I mean? Especially a guy like Baker Mayfield, who's now but slowly starting to become a journeyman. Hey, let him play. You know what I mean? 48 hours. You have zero chemistry with these weapons. You don't know this much of the playbook by any means. So I don't think that he plays, to be honest with you. I think they ride with what they got. And the next week, Baker will probably get a few snaps for sure. But yeah, you guys, Raiders are in for a big game, not one that we can overlook. We're fully excited about it. And if we win, if we can, stay tuned for a post-game live show, and we'll keep you guys updated if that's just if what we decide to do. But hey, everybody, thank you guys for spending your Tuesday evening with us. We really appreciate it. Make sure you like the video on the way out. Uh, and as always, man, just win, baby.
Peace.